Have you ever felt that feminism in English literature is just so vast to cover? Like there are so many writers, so many texts, and you are confused where to start and what to read. So in this video, I am going to simplify that for you. Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. So after a long period of gap, finally I am posting one long video. So in this video, we'll be discussing about feminist writer that is important for every English literature student to know. So I'll be doing 50 most important feminist writers of our English literature, but this is going to be the part 1 of that video where I'll be discussing only about the 25 feminist writers of our English literature. So whether you are just preparing for UGC NET exam, GATE exam, or for your university exam or any other English literature exam, this video is going to be for you. So here we'll be discussing about the writers, their work period, like in which period they were most famous, and their work focuses on what, and I'll tell you one important work of that particular writer and a little bit about that work. So without wasting any time, let's start the video. First, we have Mary Wollstonecraft, who belonged to the Enlightenment period, and under her name, please refer to the date of birth and her death year I have mentioned. So under each writer, I have mentioned that. Please remember that because of the chronological questions we are often asked in the exam. So as Mary Wollstonecraft belonged to the Enlightenment period, she mainly focused on women's rights, education and equality. And her most famous work is The Vindication of the Rights of Women, published in 1792. You have to remember the published date of her famous work also. It is a philosophical essay where Wollstonecraft argues that they are not naturally inferior to men. According to her, women only appear inferior because they are denied proper education and opportunity. Next, we have Virginia Woolf, one of the most important writers of the modernist period, and her works mainly focus on women's creativity, inner consciousness, and independence. Her famous work is A Room of One's Own, published in 1929, and it is an extended essay in which Woolf argues that women need financial independence and personal space in order to write and create literature freely. Another major feminist thinker is Simone de Beauvoir, who associated is with existentialism and modern feminist thought, and she focused on gender identity and women's oppression in society. So her most famous work is The Second Sex, published in 1949. So The Second Sex is a philosophical treatise that explains that how society treats women as the other and socially constructs the idea of womanhood. Now, moving on to Kate Millett, a key figure of second wave feminism, she mainly focused on patriarchy and power structure in literature and society. And her most famous work is Sexual Politics, published in 1970. So, it is a work of literary criticism where she analyzes the male authors and shows that how literature often reinforces the patriarchal ideas on women. Next, we have Betty Friedan, another important second wave feminism writer. Her work focuses on domestic life and women's dissatisfaction within the traditional role that they have to face every day. So her most famous work is The Feminine Masque. It is published in 1963, and it is a non-fiction social critique that discusses the unhappiness that is experienced by many housewives, particularly in American society. Next, we have Elaine Walter. So, she is an important name that who is most famous in feminist literary criticism, and she mainly focused on women's literary tradition, and she is most famous for gynocriticism. So, her famous work is A Literature of Their Own, that is published in 1977, and it is a critical study that traces or that shows that the history and the development of women writers in English literature particularly. Another influential feminist theorist is Judith Butler, who is associated with postmodern feminism, and her her focus is mostly on gender identity and performativity. So, her famous work is Gender Trouble, published in 1990, and it is a theoretical text where Butler argues that gender is not natural or it is fixed, but something is performed through the repeated actions. Now let's talk about Bell Hooks. She is an important voice in black feminism. Her works focus on race, gender, class, and intersectionality. So her most famous work is And I, a Woman, published in 1981, and it is a feminist theory text that examines the oppression that is faced by black women due to both racism and sexism. Another important black feminist writer is Angela Davis, and she focused on the connection between race, class, and gender oppression. Her famous work is Women, Race, and Class, published in 1981. It is a political and historical analysis that explains that how feminism must also address the racial and economical inequality. Next, we have Toni Morrison, one of the most celebrated contemporary feminist writers. Her works focuses on memory, trauma, slavery, and black identity. And her famous work is Beloved, which was published in 1987. And if we talk about Beloved, it is a novel that explores the psychological trauma of slavery and the haunting effects of the past because that protagonist has faced. Now, let's talk about Alice Walker, who is another significant feminist writer associated with womanism. Her writings mainly focus on black women's experiences and empowerment, and her famous work is The Color Purple, published in 1982. So, it is an epistolary novel, like it is written in the form of letters, which portrays the oppression, survival, and the female self-discovery faced by the protagonist itself. Now moving on to Margaret Atwood, a major contemporary feminist writer. She focuses on power, control, and women's bodies, and her most famous work is The Handmaid's Tale, published in 1985. So it is a dystopian novel that presents a society where women are controlled mainly for reproduction only. Another very important writer is Sylvia Plath, known for confessional writings. Her works mainly deal with mental health, identity, and emotional struggle. Her famous work is The Bell Jar, published in 1963. She has written so many beautiful poems. You can read that also. So it is if I talk about particularly The Bell Jar, it is a semi-autobiographical novel that portrays a young woman's struggle with depression and societal pressure. Adrienne Rich. She was an important radical feminist writer. She focused on motherhood, identity, and women's experiences. And her famous work is of Woman Born, and that is published in 1976. So, Woman Born is a non-fiction feminist text that examines the motherhood both as a personal experience and as a societal institution. Next, we have Audre Lorde, who is an important intersectional feminist writer. Her works focuses on race, sexuality, identity, and empowerment. And her famous work is Sister Outsider, published in 1984. So, Sister Outsider is a collection of essays and speeches that explores the importance of embracing the differences and marginalized identities. Now let's move towards post-colonial feminism with Gayatri Chakravarti Spivak. She mainly focused on subaltern voices, representations, and marginalized identities. Her most famous work is Can the Subaltern Speak, published in 1988. It is a critical essay where Spivak questions whether the marginalized people, especially women, can truly speak for themselves within the dominant power structure or not. Another very important contemporary feminist writer is Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie. Her work mainly focuses on gender equality and modern feminism. And her famous work is We Should All Be Feminists, published in 2015. 1914. So it is an essay based on a popular TED talk where she explains that why feminism in a simple and accessible manner for modern society. Now moving on to Arundhati Roy, a significant post-colonial Indian writer, like she belonged to Indian literature. Her works mainly focus on caste, gender, politics and societal structure. So her famous work is The God of Small Things, published in 1997, and God of Small Things is a novel that explores the forbidden relationships, caste discrimination and the social restriction imposed on women. Another bold feminist voice from India is Kamala Das, known for conventional writing, and her works mainly focus on female identity, sexuality, and emotional experiences. Her famous work is My Story, published in 1976, and it is an autobiographical narrative where she openly discusses her personal life, emotion that she has felt, and the relationship that she also has lived, and the struggle she faces as a woman every day. Next, we have Isma Chugtai, an important writer of the progressive writers movement. She mainly focused on female desire, patriarchy, and the social taboos. Her famous work is Lifaf, published in 1942, and Lifaf is a short story that explores the suppressed female sexuality and the same-sex desire, which challenges the conservative societal norms. Another major post-colonial feminist writer is Mahasweta Devi. Her writings mainly focus on tribal communities, oppression and resistance. And her famous work is Draupadi, published in 1978. Draupadi is a short story that portrays the resistance of a tribal woman against the state violence and the patriarchal exploitations. Now, moving on to Sasi Deshpande, an important contemporary Indian feminist writer. Her works, they focus on middle-class women, the marriage and identity crisis that they have to face. And her famous work is The Long Silence, published in 1988. So it is a novel that explores the emotional struggles and the silences of women they face within the patriarchal marriages or the patriarchal societal setup. Another important Indian feminist writer is Anita Desai. Her writings mainly focus on psychological realism and women's inner emotional lives. Her famous work is Clear Light of the Day, published in 1980, and it is a novel that examines the memory, family, relationships, loneliness, and emotional isolation. Now let's talk a little bit about Bama, who is an important voice in Dalit feminism. Like, she belonged to Dalit literature. Okay, her works mainly focus on caste discrimination and gender oppression. Her famous work is Karukku, published in 1992. So Karukku is an autobiographical narrative that presents the struggle and lived experiences of a Dalit Christian woman. And now finally, for this part of the video, we have Sarojini Naidu, one of the earliest female poetic voice in Indian English literature. So her works mainly focus on Indian culture, emotions and nationalism, and her famous work is The Golden Threshold, published in 1905. It is a poetry collection known for its lyrical quality and celebration of Indian life and traditions. Okay, so these were the 25 important feminist writers every English literature student should know, and I hope this video has helped you to understand their major works and key ideas in a simple way. And yes, this was only part 1. Part 2 with 25 more important feminist writers will be coming soon. So if you enjoyed this video, then don't forget to like, share and subscribe to the channel. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you all in the next video.